The Nightmare on Elm Street 4K collection is here. You know what that means. It's time to take a look at these new scans on 4K and compare them to the Blu-ray scans, the 1999 Platinum Series collection, and the couple tapes that I do have in the collection. Before we get to all that, I do want to talk briefly about this set here. I have done a few videos hyping about it. So the reason I'm holding this one and not the Steelbook, which is the one that I pre-ordered, is because it was delayed. But it wasn't delayed until 5 a.m. the day it was supposed to be delivered. And it was delayed to God knows when. I got one of those emails that says, click to confirm you still want this. Now, I had been recording clips of these previous releases all week. There's no way I was going to wait for however long. So I ordered this one last minute and it came today. And I will say, I am glad mine came with this slipcover. You know, it's kind of the same, but like, I don't know, it just adds just a little bit something extra to it, you know? As far as special features go, there's not a lot of new stuff on this set. In fact, there's borderline nothing new. Is the uncut version of A Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child, and an updated version of the 3D portion of Freddy's Dead. One thing I really appreciated about Freddy's Dead in 3D was that you can actually click to watch the movie that way. It's not exclusively a special feature now. Now, this isn't really an unboxing video, but we'll take a quick look at this stuff. I already redeemed my code, so no worries there, but got the digital code, obviously, every movie on its own individual disc, and the 3D glasses. The Nightmare on Elm Street franchise is definitely my favorite slasher franchise out there. It's number one for me, so this was a no-brainer. Now, there were rumors swirling around that there were going to be a lot of new special features for this. If you're a horror nerd on Instagram, you may already be aware that Rachel Talalay was posting on Instagram that she was actually in studio working on these 4K transfers like a year ago. Which had me think, okay, if you have all these directors there, you're going to film stuff with them, right? New stuff. At least like one special feature that kind of encompasses the franchise or something. So far, I've seen none of that. In fact, this actually has less special features than the Blu-ray release. Now, most of the features on here are carryovers, so it's just stuff we've seen before. I think there might be, you know, one or two new things on there that I couldn't even actively find because it's organized so weird and it just doesn't tell you anything about what it is unless you go through and watch everything. And I just haven't had time to do that yet. Before we look at the actual side-by-side comparisons, I will mention I'm glad that this version includes all of the original either mono or stereo tracks. Not all movies, I think, should be, you know, necessarily watched that way, but these Nightmare on Elm Street movies kind of benefit from it. Alright, so here we are looking at part 1, and we're only going to briefly look at this one just because this one came out a year ago, and I actually have already done a comparison, but I didn't have the Blu-ray when I did it, so as I'm skimming through here, you'll notice the top left is the VHS. The top right is the DVD, the bottom left is the Blu-ray, bottom right, 4K. Now, if you pay close attention, you'll see that the VHS is actually showing more on top and bottom, and that's because the VHS is an open matte transfer. I might have to do a video about that in the future about what that means, but already as we're looking through, you can tell that the new transfer on the 4K in the bottom right is much darker, or at least it appears so in this comparison. If you go and actually play this on a 4K TV with HDR and stuff, it's going to look better than this. It's going to look great. Trust me, it did on my TV today. But as we go through this, you can just see how much difference there is from each version to the next one. You know, I'll give you my thoughts throughout, but ultimately it's up to you to decide which one you think really looks the best. Honestly, these all look pretty good right here in this shot. I am not someone who will complain about DVDs. You know, this 1999 DVD set is the one that I used for years until real recently, like this month. So now it's interesting to see just the blood saturation and how dark it is in comparison in relation to these other scenes, like how much cooler the colors look in the 4K on the bottom right. It's just interesting to note because whenever I do these, the Blu-ray always looks like the color saturation is always turned way up. And for a few of these, I've also put together some of these vertical comparisons so you can kind of tell exactly what it looks like next to it. So with this one, we are obviously looking at the beginning of Nightmare on Elm Street. The DVD on the far left, the Blu-ray in the middle, and the 4K on the right. I left out the VHS for this comparison, but as you'll see, it doesn't quite match up 100%. Some of that is the way they framed it. Some of that's just because pieces here and there are a little out of time, but some of this stuff, it's pretty subtle, you know what I mean? Look at this. 4K is definitely darker, but not dark enough that you'd notice unless you were literally looking at this comparison. It is just interesting. It's like, I don't know what kind of coloring goes into this kind of stuff after they film it. I don't know what kind of technology they used to use to make home releases versus what they do now, but they're all wildly different. Alright, on to part 2. This is officially in completely new territory. So up on the left we have the Video Treasures VHS, which is of course in LP mode, so it's extra crappy. We've got the DVD on the top right, the Blu-ray on the bottom left, and of course the 4K on the bottom right. Now we're looking at the opening school bus scene, which, you know, these aren't too crazy yet. They look pretty comparable. Blu-ray is obviously the lightest. We get over here, and these colors start to shift wildly. The VHS pretty closely resembles, at least color-wise, what the DVD is doing. But look at that. Man, these LP mode VHS tapes from Video Treasures on the top left, they just look like crap, dude. Although, again, you'll notice this one is a open matte as well. Again, look at the wild color differences there. I mean, depending on your preference, you might think one looks better than the other, but they all look good to me. Now, this is wild. Look at the DVD, compare it to the 4K, right? That VHS on the top left, the coloring is so wildly different from the Blu-ray right below it. How is this even the same movie, you know? And of course, this iconic scene, you've got the body, I've got the brain. I think this is the most terrifying version of Freddy. I'm not the only person to have that opinion or anything, but God, the makeup, everything he's doing is just so deranged. I love it. Nothing too crazy here. One of the best scenes in horror cinema history, of course. And it looks pretty good as well. Again, naturally, these 4Ks all look a little darker, and it kind of works especially well with horror movies. And man, this is just another good example. That VHS looks like absolute fucking dog shit. And I'm a VHS, like, defender. Through and through. There's some movies I only have on VHS. Again, the color shifting here isn't too wild. Nothing that's sticking out crazy to me. Obviously, it's a little different, but I could deal with any of these. Minus the VHS, of course, because it's that fucking LP mode. We gotta check out this shot, right? I mean, I kind of like the coldness of the DVD there on the top right, but is brighter better? I mean, for the Blu-ray on the bottom left, I end up feeling that way with a lot of movies, but I'm feeling that the 4K is definitely superior here because the darkness adds to horror movies more than it does other movies, I think. I just love this movie in particular. It's up there. It's either my favorite or second favorite Nightmare film. And I gotta say, I do think this is a great scan, although it is cutting off a little more of the matte whatever than the Blu-ray. The Blu-ray shows more. DVD shows even less. And of course I also have a vertical comparison for this as well. We will skim through real quick. This one does include the VHS on the far left, DVD on the middle left, Blu-ray on the middle right, and 4K on the far right. You can just see how different those colors in the sky tones look. Everything that goes on, like, look at that. That's crazy. These are just different scans of a movie. You'd think I was like making an art piece. Like, obviously they're a little imbalanced, but these are all the same shot. Like, it's wild. Next up, we are looking at Part 3, Dream Warriors. So on the top left, we have the VHS. This one's recorded in SP mode. We have the DVD on the top right, Blu-ray bottom left, 4K bottom right, as usual. As you can expect with all of these scans going forward, the immediate reaction is, oh, the 4K looks, a little bit darker. So what I do appreciate about this is the coloring is not too far off from any of these versions. The VHS looks pretty whack, right? But now, once we get closer to looking at this guy, look how dark that 4K looks. I gotta tell you, it did not look, bad on my 4K TV. It looked fucking excellent. That being said, so did the Blu-ray, and the DVD did not look bad. The thing is, if this isn't like your favorite franchise, you'd probably be okay just owning the Blu-rays for this. I mean, look at that. They don't look bad. The 4Ks definitely look like They're supposed to, though. You will note, again, that the VHS is open matte. That means it's not pan and scan, because pan and scan examples are always fun to look for in these comparisons as well. Again, really besides the VHS, the coloring's all, it's close enough for me. It's a little dark there, but again, it kind of just works for these movies. One of the best scenes in any Nightmare on Elm Street movie, right here. I was curious how the coloring was going to look on this one, but honestly, the film grain on all of these new 4K scans is fucking great. I had zero complaints about any of the Blu-ray scans as well, but the thing is, these directors did supervise these scans, and that's what I look for when I'm looking for this stuff. And these movies, because they're so dream-based, are like always really vibrant and colorful. It's harder to tell the extra definition that the 4K offers when I've squished it down onto this screen and you're probably not watching it on any sort of 4K device or anything, and it's, not uploaded in 4K, but take my word for it, it's fucking great. And now a brief look at the vertical comparison for this. You can see just how different they all look. And it's everything they're doing when they are planning to release this on a physical media version, as opposed to when they are editing the film originally. Like, just look at the color differences there. Like, who the hell has the right color? Which one of these are the other three supposed to look like? See, other than the VHS, I have no complaints about any of these. Alright, now that we are out of VHS tapes, we've got an open spot for me to hang out there in the corner. And we are on to part 4. This one is actually really good too, obviously people favor Dream Warriors, but this one is underrated. So again, just pointing it out, the 4K is, yes, it's a little darker. The Blu-ray has been colored significantly different from the DVD. That's what I'm saying, just which fucking version was right, man? It just looks like I'm looking through like an Instagram filter gallery at this point, In all seriousness, though, as far as this movie goes, I think all 3 scans color-wise look pretty decent. There's nothing where I'm like, holy shit, that looks bad. And look at the 4K on the bottom right shine here, man. That actually color-wise looks significantly better than the other 2. Well, this is less convincing, but the shots of the sand for sure. Alright, let's get the iconic sunglasses bit here. Yeah, dude, the 4K looks fucking sick. The Blu-ray is actually looks like shit right here on the bottom left. Not gonna lie. It's all about that DVD and 4K here. Such an iconic picture, though. So now we've got some significant color changes again. The 4K on the bottom right is way bluer, although it does look more similar to how the DVD looks. The Blu-ray is normal colors. This is fascinating. It's like, is the director going in when they are scanning this in and being like, you know what? Make it blue. How did it get blue on the DVD? Or how did it get unblue for the Blu-ray? You know what I mean? The Blu-ray is the one that's not blue. What's going on here? All these look pretty good as well. Again, I think this movie's the most consistent one I've seen so far. Like, color-wise, none of them are anything objectionable. And here we are with the vertical comparisons for part 4. Again, since I said this one is the most comparable, I think, I won't lie. Like, when you look at them like this, they look even more different. And there he is. Oh, what a guy. All I gotta say is hold on to your DVDs and hold on to your Blu-rays, man, because they're not bad. I like the 4K scans, I do, but unless you're gonna be watching these movies all the time, you can stick with your Blu-rays for sure. Part 5 being my least favorite, we are only going to look at a vertical comparison real quick. You can see just how different the framing and everything is as well. Of course, evil little hell baby Freddy. So in these middle shots, I only had footage from the Blu-ray and 4K. I don't know why. I guess I didn't take that clip for the DVD, but you can see just how different and even like unlevel they are. Look how out of whack those windows are and stuff. Like, that's not something I did. The fact that things are different sizes and not lining up is not my fault. That's their framing, Super weird. And of course, we'll take a look at one of my personal favorites here, Freddy's Dead. Again, this one I found to be pretty acceptable all around. There aren't a lot of crazy color changes, and the 4K just blew me away. I don't care what people say about Freddy's Dead. I love it. I mean, how could you not love this? And again, if we're looking at the colors here, everything's pretty agreeable. You know, they're different enough that you can tell they're different versions. And overall, throughout all of these scans, I pretty much think that the 4Ks do look better, especially when you're playing them like you should through a 4K TV with a 4K player and all that stuff. When we dumb it down for these, you're getting less of that experience, but so ultimately you got to find out for yourself what looks best. Green sky on the Blu-ray bottom left, more of a teal sky on the 4K bottom right. Just the subtle differences. And it seems like you just turned up the brightness on the Blu-ray a little bit. And then we get to the 3D portion, and I have the Blu-ray on the bottom left, which is just the regular version, just for comparison. I haven't actually tried the new version out with 3D glasses yet, but I'm going to get around to it soon. And lastly, we have got New Nightmare. So these all look pretty comparable. 4K, it looks significantly different from the other two, I'd say. Colors are a lot cooler there. And this is something I always like to point out in these reviews. But look how blown out that light is, basically, coming off of those sparks on the DVD on the top right. Then look at the bottom left. See how much more detail there is. See how much more fade there is in the light. It doesn't just come to a hard end. And then in the 4K, you have even more of that. And that's one of the things 4K is best at, is like lights, fires, electricity. Like, it kind of shows that true like high dynamic range shit they're talking about, you know? Again, most of this looks almost all the same, you know what I mean? I think the first 3 movies had the most differences color-wise. Other than that, you're just getting upgrades on these scans that are more true, I would assume more true to what they're supposed to look like. And I think the best scene in this movie in particular, I think I used to like New Nightmare a lot more than I do now. I don't know. I was watching it again for these clips and I was just like, I don't know. It's genius in some ways, you know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. So no matter how you slice it, I mean, the 4Ks are an upgrade. They look great. You definitely should get your hands on them. I would say, if nothing else, definitely just get the standard edition if you didn't pre-order or whatever. I think I might end up just canceling that Steelbook edition, you know? If you like this video, be sure to check out this one and hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching.